Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 14 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new Christmas Cricut project every day for 20 days. Today's project is a little bit inspired from one of the projects in last year's Christmas Craft Countdown. Last year we made these freestanding star-shaped shadow boxes with the nativity scene inside, and they all light up. I had so many lovely comments about this project and it was one of the most downloaded from the whole countdown, and since then I've had quite a few emails asking for similar projects. So that's what we're doing today. For today's project, instead of making a star shadow box, we're making a Christmas tree shadow box. And this time I've put my favourite theme inside. Yep, that's right, I've snuck in a second gnome theme project into this year's countdown. These shadow boxes come together far more quickly than you might expect, and it's really easy to add all the layers inside with a clever use of some folding and some tabs. You don't need any foam squares, you're not going to be sticking all those layers together, they simply place themselves in and hold themselves at the correct distance. If you're a little bit intrigued by that, keep watching and let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just the design from this video at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Christmas. The designs will appear here each day once the free versions have expired. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to use the cut files, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. Here's what the Gnome shadow box looks like loaded into Design Space. It should load in at 25 inches wide and 26 inches tall. It tells you those sizes in this green box on the top left. You can scroll down or zoom out to see all of the pieces that make up this design. We'll need to format all the score lines before this is ready to cut. First up, ungroup the design by clicking it and pressing the ungroup button at the top of the layers panel, or the one that appears on the floating bar at the bottom. Then click the first layer in the layers panel, which is that rectangle, and delete it. You'll notice as you look down the layers that there are lots of subgroups in here. That's all the ones that have got this chevron arrow on the left. That indicates that all of the ones with the chevron arrow have score lines in them. Let's click on the first one to open it up. We've got a white solid shape at the bottom and then single lines on top. Click the single lines to select them. Then in the operations drop down where it currently says basic cut, change it to score. Click the title of that group and that selects both the layers. You see they've now both gone green. We need to tell the Cricut to do the scoring on this particular bit of card. To do that, we need to attach the layers. So either click Attach at the bottom of the Layers panel or the paperclip icon underneath the floating bar. Then open up the next group. Click on that top layer, change it to Score, click to select them both, and attach. And then work your way through all of them one by one. Make sure when you're attaching, you're only attaching each individual group. We're not joining groups together, just the layers within that group. It doesn't take very long once you get into the swing of it. When you get onto these pieces that make up the sides with all the different pictures in, it looks a little bit different because the top layer now shows a triangle with lots of lines. As long as you remember you're always clicking the top layer within the group to turn that into the score line, then you're all good. Change to score, click, and attach. That's all of them done. The very top layer and the very bottom layer in the layers panel don't have anything that needs to be score lines, so we can leave them as they are. As all my pieces are white, I'm going to put a piece of orange card down so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. First up, we're going to fold all of the layers on the shadow box, which are these 4 pieces. You know that it's these ones because it's the one with the pictures and they've got all the score lines down the side. The score lines fold over themselves to create the depth between each layer without the need for any foam squares. So what we'll do, I'll start with the base one, turn it upside down, and then fold upwards along those score lines. If your Cricut hasn't scored very deeply into your card, you may wish to go over it by hand, either with a scoring tool or with a craft knife and some scissors or something like that. Mine hasn't scored very deeply, but I think I can still just about get it worked out. So how this will work is it will make sides. So the first tab that we folded will go over like a little ridge, and then you've got one here which will touch up against whichever layer we put next to make the depth. And each side of each triangle has got 3 separate sides that we need to fold. That's my second one done. And fold them to make the ridge and the little bit coming out the back. And then one more. That's the first one done. You can see how that's made those sides on there on all of the 3 bits of the triangle. I'm now going to pause my video recording and do that exact same thing for the other pieces of the gnome decoration. So that's these 3 bits. I've now got all 4 of the layers with the sides folded in, so they can go to one side for now. And we're going to build up the back of the frame. You'll need the triangle with the circle in one of the bottom corners, and then the 3 side pieces that don't have any circle cutouts in them, which look like these. So don't pick the ones that have got the tree shape on and a little circle in the corner, or the one single one that also has the circle cut out, because those are for the front of the shadow box. We're doing the back first. First up, fold along all the tabs on the side bits. Then we need to sort of think about this back to front. So I'll turn that over. It doesn't really matter which way round it goes, because as long as the hole is at the bottom, we're good. Doesn't matter if it's on the left or the right. We're going to start with the tab that doesn't have anything on the sides. So the other 2 have both got an extra tab. This one doesn't. Work out which side it fits against, so it goes all the way from one to the other. There'll be one side that's a bit smaller that it won't fit on, so not that one. Okay, so you can either glue it or use double-sided tape. Double-sided tape might actually be easier because it means it will stick straight away, but mine ran out, so I'm going to be using glue. Line it up as closely against the edge of that base piece as you can. If you come in too far, then your sides might not fit into the frame. And then get the next one, check it's the right side, which that one is. And then I've folded mine the wrong way against the score lines, but that's fine, we can fix it. So what we're kind of aiming for is that all these sides have got a tab which would join onto the next one. So the shortest one's got a tab on each side, and then this one, the last one, the tab would go against this side. So I folded this one the wrong way. I should have come back that way. Luckily, that's an easy fix. I always say that I like making mistakes when I'm doing the videos because it means you know what not to do. Much better for me to do it than for you to do it. All right, so let's get this one in place. Got 2 tabs to glue this time. Once again, line it up as close as you can with the edge of the main triangle. And then the tab's going to fold in and stick to the bit that we'd already done. Once again, try and line it up as close as you can. And then for the bottom one, that will go in there. It's got a tab either side to stick to these 2 bits. That then completes the back of the frame. Next, we'll add the lights inside. Take your string of lights and untangle them. This is the hardest bit of the whole project. I'm rubbish at untangling fairy lights. Then, keeping the battery pack on the outside, we're going to feed this all through the hole at the bottom in here. That way, the battery pack will stay on the outside, so it's easy to turn on and off. I'm going to keep going even though there aren't any lights on that bit because I don't want that visible from the back. Just turn it round, going through as much as it can. And then I'm going to use some blue tack to put this in place to hold it there. You could also put some just normal sticky tape over it or some masking tape, whatever you want to hold it in place. I like the blue tack because it means it can come off again if you need it to. And it looks nice and neat because you can't see it. Chunk of that on there. Not so close to the bottom that it means it won't be able to stand upright. So I've left a little gap. There we go. Okay, next we can start taping the lights inside with some regular sticky tape. Be aware that the layer that will go in next will be this one. Ideally, you don't want any lights directly in that heart area, but it doesn't matter if they go in any of the other circles, as you won't see that. You want to try and get your cables as flat as you can along the back of the shadow box. Get a good amount of the light going all the way through. Put some at the bottom, even though there aren't any holes on this bit at the bottom, because we still want it to shine through for the other pieces. I'm doing a very good job at sticking this to my fingers more than anything in the frame. If you feel like you want a bit more glow, then you can add a second set of lights, come through the hole again. I've now got all my lights in. They're fairly flat along the back. I could go a bit flatter if I needed to later, but we'll see. So now we're going to move this to one side and start on the front of the box. Next, we'll move on to the front of the frame, which is our 4 remaining pieces. The main tree shape, then there are 2 bits with kind of a tree outline on them, and then one that looks similar to the bits that we put on to the back. Okay, so once again, fold along all of the score lines. There's 3 on that bit and just 1 on the tree pieces. Don't worry too much if you crush some of the edges of this bit. They're not going to be seen. They'll be covered up by the big tree. All right, so how this is going to work is we'll have this bit along the bottom, and eventually it will connect in here like this to make the sides. So it'll be going up like that. But before we put it in there, we need to work out the sides, because this doesn't go quite all the way to the bottom. It sort of sits about halfway in, but to make sure it'll definitely be looking the right way, we're going to do these side bits first. And these will go on. And then I can see I've got that the wrong way because it's not lining up with the branches on the front tree. Let's try the other side. See if that lines up better, which it does. It's not going to go all the way to the very edge. This sort of sits in the middle. It'll look like that. So you'll have a border of the white all the way around, and it'll sort of sit inside. But now I know that that's that way round. That means it'll go onto this tab like that. Add the glue on here. And then line it up with the tree bit facing away from you. And we're going to make it... Oh, I've just put my glue on the wrong tab. Look what I've done. It should have been this tab, because the tab along the bottom will be going inwards in towards the middle. So I should have put my glue on this one. Oh dear. I think I've slightly got crafter's fatigue from recording all these videos, making silly mistakes now. Okay, so I'm holding this upright. The bottom tab's facing that way away from me. This one is going against this. Yep, double checking. And it will line up. So we're lining up the bottom with where the tab ends. I think it's because we're sort of thinking about it backwards that it gets confusing. And I've still got glue on that side. So when this is stuck on here, I've still managed to do it wrong. Okay, start again one more time. Ah, I see what I did. I stuck it going up the vertical line. It should have been the horizontal line. This isn't going well. Okay, it's been so long since we did the test of this project. It's been about 3 months and I can't remember how it went together, and I forgot to bring our sample one home to check. Okay, so we're joining it together like a long line. That is easier, and then it will fold up like that. Dearie me. I'm going to leave all these mistakes in because ultimately it helps you to know what not to do. Okay, this one's got a tab along the top as well for it to join along here. So this time it will probably join that way. There we go. So the branches will line up again inside. Then that will go onto this tab. Again, it lines up like a really long line. So this is what we've ended up with overall. And then this tab will fold inwards, and that will glue to the other side to make the triangle. Got there eventually. You gotta laugh at these things. The funny thing is I've already done this wrong and I had to recut it. So I thought I had it absolutely sorted for this time and still managed to mess up. Never mind. We got there in the end. If you read the written version of this tutorial, all the steps will be correct with the right screenshots in, so you won't do it wrong if you're following along exactly with me. And apologies if you were. I think I just really need a good night's sleep and come back with a fresh mind before filming anymore. Okay, so now we've got this. Then this will glue onto the tree. So we've got this on the front, and all of the branches will be not quite lined up to the edge. They sort of sit in the middle, so you'll have a gap around each one. Line it up so all the tree bits are in the middle of that front one. Check both sides. You might need to squidge it around a bit to get it all exactly in the right place. There we are, and the tab along the bottom. Okay, so we've ended up with it. It's a bit hard to see because it's white on white, but there's a border on the outside, which is the front tree, hiding all of those joins. And then this will sit inside like that and push in to hold all of the sides in place. And first, we'll put the sides in. And I think it's going to be easiest to put them in here. So we'll start with the front one, which is this. Put it in there. Then the gnome piece. Then we're doing it upside down, so the bits we folded out are facing towards us. Then the trees. And then the very back. And then hold them in and slot this on the inside. I didn't do that very well, did I? You might find that some of your pieces need pulling down a little bit if they're covering up the gaps. Maybe it'd be easier to do it this way. There we go. Gentle tap, 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 tap to get all of those layers in place. And you might need to pull some of them out a bit or push them back. Depends how much depth you want through it. But once they're in, they should hold themselves all in place. And that is what we've ended up with. Depending on how far in you've put your lights, you might want to take this apart again and hold them in a bit further if they're coming out a bit too much and your frame isn't even. Just going down and gently kind of pushing all the sides in so that they sit where they're supposed to and everything looks nice and flat. And there it is. Took slightly longer than anticipated because I went wrong about 8,000 times, but you would never know looking at the final thing. Here's my little gnome seam. Let's turn it on. It might not be very impressive, fair warning, because of all my camera lights, which are very bright. I'll try turning them off. You can see a bit better. It's still very light in here. But here we go. In real life, I can see the light coming through all of the layers, and it is beautiful. It's a bit harder to show on camera, but hopefully you can see a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make this lovely gnome shadow box inside a Christmas tree shape. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. I'll be back tomorrow with another project, so I hope to see you then for day 15 of the Christmas craft countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!